Hello, fellow gets. Today we're talking about green skins. We're going to be rating the 6 legendary lords that you can play as in Total War Warhammer 3, and basing off of their campaigns and whatnot, telling you who you should play in Total War Warhammer 3. If you watched my other video and saw that green skins kind of looked interesting, this is the perfect video for you. So stick around, give me a like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and let's get to it. So, there are 6 legendary greenskin lords. They're all pretty different, which means that you can play as all of them and have really fun. This video is going to be telling you who I think the most powerful are, and also who's the most fun. I'll be explaining their basic starting points, some basic strategies for how to run their campaign, and just hopefully help you find one that sounds interesting so you can give them a play. The strongest of the greenskins is Grimgor Ironhide. He's part of the Grimgor's Odd Boys, and he starts over here, which is right next to Cathay, and next to a couple of Chaos Dwarves and Warriors of Chaos factions, which is a pretty great starting point for him because the more things that orcs kill, the stronger they get. Grimgor is a very solid legendary lord who can do basically anything very well. He's just not fast. He's near unkillable with tons and tons of armor. He can deal massive damage to anything you need him to do, and is also a pretty good buff lord for important units such as Black Orcs, which are murderous infantry units. Overall, really fun campaign, and he is extremely powerful. His faction buffs are also pretty good, with a negative 15% upkeep for Black Orcs and Biggins, which are slightly pricey, so it's good to have that negative upkeep. And then you get income from post-battle loots plus 30%, which is absolutely insane. Like I said earlier, orcs thrive off of war, so as long as you're winning battles, you're winning at life. The second most powerful / fun to play is Azag the Slaughterer. Azag is part of the Bone Rattlers, and he starts up in the Crookback Mountains, which is right next to Kraden, and then the Empire is over here, which he can venture into if he wants to. Azag has a pretty cool thing where he's got this little crown that talks to him and tells him to do some things. He's got some pretty good relationships with Vampire Counts and Archon the Black, which is a Tomb King, and has a whole bunch of fancy Lore of Death magic that you can wield. Really fun campaign, really strong legendary lord too. Now, I'm not putting this guy on number 3 because he's powerful. I'm putting him there because he's fun. Skarsnik. Skarsnik is relatively powerful, but there are more powerful factions that you can play as, because until you capture Karak 8 Peaks, you can't recruit any orcs, which hurts early game economy. Or not economy, but early game armies. He's got really good buffs, gobos though, and goblins are a lot of fun to play because you can just have a whole bunch of expendable little guys that can do crazy damage. And he's a Night Goblin Fanatic. I'm going to be leaking a Night Goblin Fanatic video to the end of this, so go ahead and check that out if you decide on playing Skarsnik or any orcs and have some fanatics in your army that you want to make good use of. His faction effects are pretty amazing. Ambush success chance plus 15%, so he's a sneaky little gets. Character experience gain plus 100% for all heroes. Your heroes are going to be leveling up like crazy. Hero action cost is negative 50%, so doing hero actions basically costs you nothing, and then negative 20% upkeep for goblin and squig units. And seeing as that's basically the only thing you can recruit until you capture Karak 8 Peaks, it's a really good thing. And then Skarsnik himself buffs a ton to Goblin and Squigs units. Really fun campaign, really sneaky little gets, and lots of devious plans. Next guy, I'm saying he's fun because he's got a really cool faction mechanic. This is Grom the Paunch. I know he might look like a big, fat, ugly orc, but that's a goblin. He's part of the Broken Axe tribe, which is down in Bretonia, and he basically loves goblins, and every single elf in the world hates him. If you look over here, he's got negative 80 diplomatic relations with all high elves. And I'm pretty sure Altherion the Grim hates him even more. But although everyone hates you, you do have access to Grom's Cauldron, which allows you to get special ingredients and make special things that you can give to your units, which can actually buff your units insanely, like giving regeneration to goblins, or making their arrows be flaming arrows and do lots of fun damage with that. His faction effects other than that aren't insane because they're only to chariot and pump wagon units. So the negative 20% upkeep and plus 15 charge bonus to chariots, it's pretty good, especially since chariots thrive off of charge bonuses. But at the end of the day, it's not your baseline units that are getting that, which make up most of your army and therefore most of your cost. He's a really cool lord, buffing goblins insanely and actually giving them good leadership and statistics to fight with. Also a little bit of physical resistance, and his Wa heals you. So he's a really fun guy to play. 5th place, I'm putting Golbad Ironclaw. I haven't played him a lot, and mainly that's because at the end game, he gets really powerful. At the start of the game, he's just kind of mid, and I'd rather be playing a Skarshnik. He starts relatively close to Skarshnik, right next to Krazak, and the Silver Road, I think, is the province over there. He's got some interesting faction effect called the Plan, allowing unique and powerful tactics to be applied to your armies, basically just giving your unit special buffs for a certain amount of turns. But you need to collect a certain currency to use your plans, and it kind of takes a while to get to the good plans, which makes sense. But at the same time, it just means that his campaign isn't as fun as it could be until late in the game. You do get, other than that, a couple of other faction effects that are pretty cool. Improved rewards for successfully completing a Wa. You're going to be wawing all the time, you're orcs, so that's great to see. And then income from raising settlements is higher, and global recruitment duration is reduced, which is really, really good. Other than that, though, he's a pretty mid lord in himself. He's supposed to be a smart orc, but he's still an orc, so he's not that smart. And then coming in last place, just because of me personally, I don't like Wizag that much. I know a lot of people would put this guy top 3, and I understand that. I would recommend you give Wizag a try, because it's just hit or miss with this guy. You either really love Wizag, or you could be playing without him for the rest of your life. So Wizag is a savage orc, part of the Bloody Hands, who starts all the way down in these little jungles and rocky places. He used to be in the Badlands, but they moved him in Total War 3. What's cool about this guy is you get savage orcs from any settlement that you want. Savage orcs are really good in the fact that they don't have armor, but they have a significant physical resistance, especially in Wozag's army. You get a plus 15 physical resistance to the base of 25, bringing it up to a 40% physical resistance, which can be buffed further throughout the campaign. And I think Biggins just have more hit points. Yeah, they don't have a bigger physical resistance, but that's fine. So, these guys, really tough, really hard damage dealers, And then, of course, you get the negative upkeep to all of your Savage Orc units and some more campaign movement range so you can get fighting more. Wuzag's Wah is kind of interesting, giving base weapon damage and physical resistance, which means when that wall pops off, you're getting 25 plus 15 plus 20, bringing you to a total of 60% physical resistance at the start of the game. You get massive charge bonus for Savage Orc units, which applies to your Savage Orc board boys, making their charge bonus ridiculous, and Savage Orcs already have a good charge bonus, especially since they're going to have something like Frenzy basically on all the time. This guy's fun. He's a spellcaster, which is a little bit interesting, makes him a different type of legendary lord, not really amazing in melee combat, but he is an orc, so he can fare in it. That's my ratings of these factions and their legendary lords. Again, Grimgor is by far my favorite. Azag has a lot of really fun interactions that you can do with his little crown. Skoshnik is a little bit of a schema, which is really fun. Grom the Paunch is the fattest gobbo of them all, so what's not to love about that? Gobad is a little bit of a tactics guy that has a lot of cool faction mechanics. And Wuzag is some silly little green dancy dude. So, try them all out because they are orcs, and orcs are just really, really fun. And they're all pretty different, right? Grimgor is this odd boy killer. Azag slaughters people with magic. Skoshnik is a tricksy guy. Grom the Paunch basically makes gobos that should be really, really trashy, really, really good. Gorbad has those tactics, meaning you can do whatever you want as long as you're spending your currency right. And Wuzag means that you can just dress a whole bunch of people up in paint and they won't die. Have fun, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you later.